Now then, for more than 2,000 years, astrologers have been telling us that our fate could be written in the stars.
Astrology has, of course, been rejected by science and many people, but phrases like Mercury being in retrograde, oh, I felt the effect of that, didn't you?
Quiver. Did you have a little quiver?
More than a quiver. Everything
really?
went wrong. Fridges broke, the whole thing. But they're becoming increasingly seen as...
Fridges broke because Mercury went into retrograde?
Well, that's apparently one of the things, and it did happen during the period that Mercury... I'm going to get to the end of this
OK,
and
I
we'll
would
talk
if I
about
was
it. Being seen as genuine explanations for bad luck. So it's all about bad luck, really. But there has been a period we've just come out of where Mercury was in retrograde.
OK, let's go to someone who maybe can explain it, because I'm really confused. Joining us, world-renowned astrologer Penny... No, that's standard. Penny Thornton, who believes it empowers people and gives them choices, alongside Sunday Times education editor Sian Griffiths, who thinks that children can get anxious about their horoscope and should be taught that it isn't factual. Let's start with this Mercury being retrograde, if we may, Penny. Kate's saying that her fridge broke down because of it, or electrical things were going wrong.
Everything seemed to go wrong.
What is it?
Well, Mercury is the planet of communication and travel, and it's one of these most weird effects that when it appears to be moving backwards, all sorts of problems happen with transport, transportation and machinery.
So just to explain then, Mercury is the planet closest to us, isn't it? And it appears to go backwards at certain times. It's only an optical illusion. It doesn't actually change its... We're optical illusioned out this morning. It doesn't actually go backwards, but there's certain times when it appears to go backwards in the sky, and people call that Mercury in retrograde, and they claim it's a period of bad luck when the world is out of alignment.
No, it's not bad luck at all, because it serves a purpose. Retrograde Mercury, the idea that something is going backwards, means it's a time of reflection and review, and that's a good thing.
You, Sian, would say it's a load of old nonsense.
I think I would say exactly that. I would say it's absolutely drivel. There's been hundreds and hundreds of tests, you know, on astrology and whether astrological predictions are accurate, whether, you know, zodiac signs reflect people's personality, and none of them have found any evidence whatsoever. So I think it's incredibly worrying that people are, you know, actually organising their life and making decisions based on these.
They do as well, don't they?
They do.
Astrology governs a lot of people's lives. It governs the decisions they make, where they travel to, the jobs they take.
It does. I just want to pick up on something that Sian said. Just because we don't know how something works doesn't mean it doesn't work, and it's been working for thousands of years.
But there's been a lot of scientific tests which kind of try and match astrological predictions with reality.
Yeah, but
and
maybe
they just
but it's
they
also
don't
the
correlate.
tests themselves. I mean, it's a major study in many universities. People have got doctorates. I mean, it is not what it seems to be, this kind of, you know, superstitious nonsense.
I suppose what people become disturbed by, and I know, Sian, this has worried you, is this idea that we're somehow not in control, that people will go to astrology. I'm not saying you, I'm sure you're incredibly responsible, and you've had lots of people in the past that you've dealt with, like Princess Diana, who have taken your word and enjoyed what they got from you. That they're told something is going to happen, or that there is a time of their life that can be explained by this. And it can make them feel like they're stuck in that description of their life, in a way that bad counselling could be wrong as well.
Well, I'm very sad that that should happen in certain astrologers' hands, because certainly from my own point of view and from many of my colleagues, what we want to do is empower someone so that you allow them to see all their options, so you guide them towards making a decision where they feel they've had a lot of options.
Are you really some kind of therapist, in the sense that you're listening to people's woes, you're an intelligent, you know, empathetic person who then offers them good advice from someone they trust?
I certainly think...
As opposed to looking at the stars.
I certainly think that you are in the role of a mentor and a therapist, but without an astrological map, without actually a horoscope in front of... I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Sian, if it gives somebody hope and it gives them the sense that they're feeling good, or gives them a sense of direction, it helps them make a decision, regardless of what the outcome of that decision is, then is that not a good thing?
Well, I don't think it is, because the whole idea that the movement of stars and planets can influence events in people's lives is such total nonsense. I was going to use another word, but I didn't. And then I think the problem is that if you make decisions based on completely mystical, magical thinking, really, you're going to make bad decisions. You make bad decisions, your life's going to get worse and you're going to get more anxious. It'd be much better, you know, if you've got a big decision to make, don't follow an astrological prediction or go to an astrologer. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, think about your circumstances. If it's a decision about work, go to your HR department.
Do you think none of it's
decisions...
true? Because when you say that the movement of the planets have an effect on us, we know that gravity has an effect. We know that the moon has an effect on the planet. The moon affects our tide. Why is it so crazy to think that we wouldn't be affected, especially as we're so much water? Why wouldn't we be affected a little bit by it?
Because all the scientific studies show that there is no match between astrological predictions that are made, and many of them are different. You can go to 2 different astrologers and they will read the astrological charts. They will give you totally different predictions about what you should do. So there's so many scientific studies have shown that it is nonsense. That's what really worries me.
We keep going over the same ground. Yeah. Scientific studies, nonsense. And I've tried to say, just because we don't know how it works doesn't mean it works. It doesn't work, which is a very important parameter. But I also think that I give my clients, and I think most good astrologers do, more options. And I would say sometimes your friends give you the worst advice. What agendas do your friends have? Maybe the best of motives. But why wouldn't you canvass opinion? Something like astrology, which is a wonderfully objective way to look at your life and the options as well as...
Well, I think the problem is that, you know, many people go to astrology when they're stressed, when they're vulnerable, when they're really down in their lives. And at the end of the day, astrology is a commercial business. Astrologers are making money out of their fortune-telling, which is what it is.
I've got to come in here. No, astrologers aren't making a mint of money. There may be companies who have astrological programs making a mint, but individual astrologers are not making money.
It's your business, though, is it not, Penny?
It is a business, absolutely.
Yeah, so you're making money from it?
Well, I would intend to make money. I write books. I
think that's what Sian's saying, though, isn't it?
Well, we're not making
but at the end of the day, why should people go to astrologers for advice? You're going to a stranger based on a pseudoscience for advice about, you know, sometimes very important decisions in your life, like whether you should end a relationship, whether you should, you know, take a new job. These are things that are going to affect your life.
People ever come back to you and say, you gave me wrong advice?
Not in my memory, no.
Okay.
And I think you've got to give people a little bit more credit than this. I mean, the great British public, the great public generally aren't stupid. If something doesn't work, they're not going to bother to find out more about it. And I think, you know, the advice that you give isn't something that is terrifying. You mentioned something about people being weak and vulnerable. Yes, often we see people who are having a tough time and they need some kind of guidance, and that guidance should be positive. And again, they should feel empowered by it.
Well, look, we've got... I've got a horoscope for Ben here, and I think you've got one for me, haven't you?
I think that's an explanation of what a Sagittarius is.
Yes, so Ben is a Sagittarius, and this is what qualities he should have, according to his horoscope. He's blessed with the gift of the gab, that's true. He can talk the hind leg off a donkey, that's true. He is the sign of the archer.
Ooh.
He's the hunter, poised with his bow and arrow. All a quiver, taking aim at a target. Often I'm the target. I think that's pretty good. That's you, isn't it? That's you. You're a hunter.
Taurians are very clumsy, easy creatures, sorry, to understand. They have very basic needs.
That's
this is
true. Food and
females
drink.
are the sign of door, food, and guys. Being the first of the earth signs, Taurus symbolises rich, rolling fields of very dark brown earth waiting to be cultivated.
That's me. I'm a lump of mud waiting to be cultivated.
She's been left fallow for a few years, this one. Taurians are governed by their love of sensuality in all forms.
Oh.
Is that ever since the herbal remedy, you've been a little bit more touchy-feely, haven't you?
I'm feeling super sensual this morning.
I think Dolly sums it up quite nicely on Twitter, and she says, I read my horoscopes. If it's good, I believe it. If it's bad, it's rubbish.
There you go.
There's an element, I think, ultimately, though, Penny, and I think, Sian, you can agree, if someone takes something from it that they can take a little bit of confidence or makes them feel a little bit better, then that can't, not necessarily a bad thing.
And nobody should ever do what they don't want to do.
Exactly, and I think, again, the idea...
in GCSE science taught as a pseudoscience so that millennials do not download these apps.
Well, I think that's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, people enjoy astrology. They find guidance in it. Yeah. And if they didn't, we just wouldn't be there.
I think we'll have to agree.
We're not forcing ourselves.
We are going to have to leave it there.